and across the country, registered apprenticeship programs are quickly gaining popularity, for good reason. The registered apprenticeship model gives employers the opportunity to create customized training that fits their business and skills needs, and it gives job seekers the opportunity to receive a paycheck while they're learning a skill and gaining a credential. One of the reasons we are here today is to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, a celebration that allows leaders in business, labor, education, and other critical workforce development partners to come together and showcase support and enthusiasm for registered apprenticeships. The Department of Labor will be featuring a registered apprenticeship story and profile each day on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. I encourage you all to look and follow along, as I know these stories will be very inspiring. Another reason we're here today is to celebrate and announce some recent developments in Vermont's own registered apprenticeship program. Since Governor Scott's first term in office, he has prioritized workforce development initiatives and strengthening Vermont's labor force. The Vermont Department of Labor, as the state's designated workforce development agency, was front and center in this conversation. As part of our efforts to do everything we can to make sure we are providing ample opportunities and services to individuals who want to be engaged in our labor force, I asked the team at the department to rethink and revise the way that we support registered apprenticeships. In July of this year, registered apprenticeships and on-the-job training models received national attention when the Trump administration announced the formation of the National Council for the American Worker. However, we at the Department of Labor, along with Governor Scott, feel that we were one step ahead. Led by Sarah Buxton, who is here today, the Department of Labor formed an internal apprenticeship division team to expand the department's statewide registered apprenticeship strategy. This team has been tasked with creating more registered apprenticeship opportunities by fostering and bolstering partnerships with employers, community stakeholders, and higher ed institutions who are anchors for classroom instruction. The Department of Labor received a federal grant for $968,000 to help make this possible. And one of the ways that we are modernizing the registered apprenticeship program is by creating a multi-pattern team of stakeholders that includes economic development, education, vocational rehabilitation, Community College of Vermont, Vermont Technical College, and the Vermont State College System. You will hear about some of the great work that is being done already from those partners who will speak here shortly. In creating this collaborative team of stakeholders, it is the Vermont Department of Labor's goal to create a no wrong door approach to accessing apprenticeships for employers and or job seekers in the state of Vermont. We have about 18 months to do the work, and we are right on schedule. I would now like to introduce Pat Moulton, President of Vermont Technical College, who will talk a little bit more about how VTC has been an integral partner in these new initiatives. Pat?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Curley. Thank you very much, Governor Scott. And it is my pleasure to be here to discuss our new apprenticeship opportunities in Vermont. As we hopefully all know, there are a vast array of existing apprenticeship opportunities for Vermonters. Of course, our plumbing, electrical, and tramway apprenticeships that we're very pleased to be partnering with the Vermont Department of Labor to deliver that plumbing and electrical instruction. But there are over 25 different occupations that have registered apprenticeships here in Vermont. Apprenticeship is good for employers. Apprenticeships improve productivity and the bottom line, helps reduce turnover, contains industry-driven credentials and flexible training solutions to meet the employment needs of Vermonters and Vermont employers. It's a win-win all around. And Vermont Technical College is pleased to be part of this great apprenticeship expansion in partnership with the Vermont Department of Labor and the Community College of Vermont. This grant will increase the number of registered apprenticeships available across the state. There will be 6 new apprenticeships developed through the grant, aligned with the state's Career Pathway Initiative and the Vermont Talent Pipeline, including 2 in manufacturing, 1 at Community College of Vermont and 1 with us at Vermont Tech, a construction program that we will offer at Vermont Tech, bookkeeping apprenticeship, which will be offered at Community College of Vermont, and 2 in allied health, a practical nursing program at Vermont Tech, and medical assisting at CCV. Maybe not the things you normally think of as apprenticeship, but a good example of how apprenticeship can fill so many needs in many different sectors. Both of our colleges are represented on the new state apprenticeship team that the commissioner spoke of, and working collaboratively to meet the needs of Vermont employers through the expansion of these opportunities. CCV's apprenticeship and certified production technician will be embedded in the STEM certificate and degree at CCV, which are accepted into our programs at Vermont Tech for further education. All apprenticeships will include an industry-recognized credential along with post-secondary credit leading to a degree. Vermont's apprenticeship in advanced manufacturing is embedded in our general engineering technology program, as well as our manufacturing engineering technology associate's degree, and aligned with our bachelor's degree in manufacturing technology. And I can't talk to an employer who doesn't love the graduates from these programs and doesn't love the folks who are finishing apprenticeship. It's a great opportunity. Our LPN apprenticeship program is an entry point to our nursing and allied health pathway that can lead to a registered nurse or Bachelor of Science in Nursing degrees. The construction apprenticeship program is aligned with our associate's and bachelor's degrees in construction management. Again, participants will receive college credit, which can be used to obtain a degree at any time, and this is an extraordinary pathway to more lucrative and solid careers for Vermonters. Vermont Tech is happy to offer unique learning experiences focused on hands-on, practical learning taught by faculty who are experts in their field. Our Office of Continuing Education and Workforce Development brings this style of education to a wide range of lifelong learners, professions, and professionals. We value our partnership with the Vermont employers around the state to offer critical workforce education and training, including customized workshops, courses that lead to certificate, degree programs, and industry-recognized credential. Our mission at Continuing Ed is to provide accessible, career-focused education for lifelong success, and apprenticeship is one of an excellent tool to get that done. So we're pleased to be part of this partnership, very much looking forward to launching these new programs, and pleased to be here to announce that for you today. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for Pat and the partnership that we have, and really all of you in this room. I wanted to highlight some of the folks that were here, but honestly, you are all very important people in our charge to build the apprenticeship program, so I want to thank you all for being here. I would now like to introduce to you Jen Oldham of Vermont Works for Women. Vermont Works for Women has been an incredible partner to the Vermont Department of Labor in helping to get more women into the labor force by supporting women in non-traditional apprenticeships. Jen.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Governor, for the opportunity to speak, to highlight the important role apprenticeships play in creating a skilled labor force and in creating career pathways for individuals. And particularly thank you for allowing me to emphasize the important role that women play in that skilled workforce. For 30 years, Vermont Works for Women has been all about creating economic opportunities for girls and women through career education, exploration, and training. And we have always recognized apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship training as being critical to moving women into careers, particularly those that are considered non-traditional. So we applaud the new apprenticeship efforts, and we look forward to taking advantage of them. I'm also excited to take this opportunity to talk about a new grant that we received from the United States Department of Labor to support women in non-traditional jobs and apprenticeships. This is a $350,000 grant that we will use over the course of the next year, working with unions, with employers, with training providers, with the Vermont Talent Pipeline, and with the state to address barriers to women entering the fields of manufacturing, construction, plumbing, and electrical. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce one of my partners in crime in this, Danielle Bombardier, who's in the back of the room. Danielle is with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Still need to work on that name. Is a master electrician, is a trainer, and is a graduate of a previous Vermont Works for Women electrical program. For some context, between 2014 and 2018, the percentage of women as a total of electrical apprenticeships was just under 2.5%. Total percent of women in plumbing pipe fitting apprenticeships, 1%. Number of women in HVAC and construction apprenticeships, 0%. And unfortunately, these percentages haven't really budged over the years. But we're not going to meet our labor gaps if we don't budget now. And I think the time is right. The acute labor shortages are creating new opportunities for women. Employers and educators have more incentive than ever to figure out how to attract women into these fields. And the evidence abounds that women have the interest, they have the aptitudes, and they have the skills to be extremely successful in these fields. There is a reason that Rosie the Riveter figures prominently in our marketing materials. Not only Rosie, but Danielle and women that we talk to all over the state speak to the pride they have in their work, to the fact that these jobs provide financial stability for them and their families, but they also speak to the barriers that they've had in entering and succeeding in these fields. And it's those barriers that Vermont Works for Women with this grant is going to be working to address. So the time is right to expand apprenticeship opportunities, and the time is right to particularly focus on moving women into these apprenticeship opportunities, into fields that advances their economic opportunity and advances the economic opportunity of Vermont. I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. It is now my honor to introduce to you Travis Fitzgerald of Dealer Policy. Through an innovative apprenticeship model, along with a partnership from Vermont High Tech and the Vermont Department of Labor, Dealer Policy has successfully trained upwards of 60 new insurance policy agents in Vermont, and they've made significant continuous investments in their community, in Vermont, and in their employees. Travis?
Thank you very much. I just noticed I think I'm the only person up here without a tie today, so hopefully I'm fitting my role as an InsurTech person. I was asked to come today to share a little bit about our story and some of the needs that we had early on in terms of talent and what our approach was to that. We had some choices. Do we outsource that? Because for us, we needed a bunch of licensed insurance professionals. I'll share a little bit about our model, briefly, just to give you some context on it. But we were at a crossroads, and we had to sort of make a decision as to where we were going to grow our labor force, and was that going to be in Vermont, or was that going to be somewhere else? And so the talent pool, the number of licensed agents simply wasn't out there, and so we either had to go somewhere or go through a program like the one that we entered into with Vermont High Tech, Vermont Department of Labor, in the state. So a little bit on us real quick. So insurance technology company, think of it like a kayak or orbit. So you go into a dealership to buy a car. You go through the typical car buying process. You put your information in. You get quotes from a bunch of companies. And the consumer has the opportunity to save money and potentially purchase insurance from us. I'd say about 10% of car buying customers today are purchasing insurance through our platform. We've started off in our backyard here in Vermont. I am a native Vermonter. Proud of that. And so we started off in Vermont. We've moved throughout the Northeast. We're in 7 states today. We continue to add dealerships and customers, and so our needs for talented individuals continues to increase. So going back to 2015 when we started the opportunity, I started talking about this. So myself and our COO, Mark Visosky, we actually traveled around the country. So we went out west to Utah and Texas, and really trying to figure out where we were going to grow. We knew we needed a bunch of insurance professionals, and so had a bunch of conversations. Mark had a past relationship with Jerry Ghazi and the Vermont High Tech folks, and so we got together and we said, well, the story's good. They pitch it, very well, but the proof's in the pudding. So why don't we try it? We'll run a pilot program and we'll see what happens. And so We did it. Obviously, we're here today. We're on our 5th program. We've graduated, I think, about 60 people. Our company has gone from 13 people, let's see, early 2016 to we have about 120 today. I would say there's no doubt that this program has been a catalyst to our success. We simply wouldn't be here without it. I think I'll talk about future, right? So looking into next year, we'll go from the 120 people we have today. We expect to have 250. A number of those folks will come in through this program. We expect another 75 to come in throughout the year. We plan on having 8 cohorts throughout next year. A little bit different than we've done in the past, but something a little more efficient that we're going to try out. So I think it might be helpful to share just sort of a quick anecdote, from like a real life situation, right? So we went through our first orientation, right? And so everybody's familiar with how it works, right? You got this orientation. We go through, a round of interviews that actually take place on the Vermont High Tech side first. Then those folks come in to us, and we interview them, and they go through this apprentice program. That's about a 10-week program, or at least ours was. As people go through, they graduate, and they earn more each step as they meet their objectives, and then they become part of our company. So for me, it became very real during the first round of interviews. So at this point, we had grown, and we had, as a company, we had started picking up traction, and we knew we were on the right track. But it was really the first round of interviews when I met, with, I don't know, there was like 10 or so people that came through, and to hear the genuine enthusiasm that people had and the excitement about the opportunity is where it became very real for me. We were excited about the growth of the company, but to really create opportunities within our local community was a big deal for us. And for me, it's where the light bulb went off and said, hey, we're doing something special here. We're able to sort of keep these jobs in our local community. So let's see. Yeah, so that was obviously the start of it. Since we've, like I said, we have about 60 graduates. I'll speak to maybe their performance really quickly. So a number of the folks that we have in our call center are, they've been in the insurance industry for a long time. So, some of them for decades. And so they're very experienced and they're good at their jobs. But I am proud to say that our leading performers as of this month are all from the high-tech program. So if you take 50 agents that we have today, you look at the top 5, they're all from one of the cohorts that we ran, so one of the 5. So not only are we doing it, but the agents are successful, and it's certainly creating opportunities for them personally, professionally, and financially as well. I think that's it. That's my story. Happy to be here with everybody and share that success that we've had so far.
Thank you, Travis. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And now we're going to move on to the proclamation. I've asked Governor Scott to be here today to help us formally declare November 12th through November 16th National Apprenticeship Week in Vermont. This is the 4th National Apprenticeship Week celebration that the Vermont Department of Labor has participated in. Governor?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Commissioner Curley, and thank you all for being here today to mark this important week. And thanks to the other speakers. This is all great news in helping more Vermonters through proven methods of training. And as you know, I've spoken a lot about the need to focus on the workforce challenges that we face here in the state. Apprenticeships provide hands-on experience for in-demand jobs, as well as hands-on learning while you're learning that trade. I'm a hands-on learner myself. It's something that I was involved in when I was in high school. I was in vocational training as well, and it was a lot easier for me to learn that way rather than through a book. By doing, and I think that is something that I can appreciate with the apprenticeship program. And these aren't the only advantages, as apprenticeships also help Vermonters earn while they learn. I think that's important, a model of post-secondary education that's critical to helping Vermonters embark on a career path and take care of their financial obligations at the same time. This type of training is important because it not only creates opportunity for Vermonters, but it helps us fulfill those skilled positions that we greatly need in our workforce. Now, I came from a construction background. I had a construction business for over 30 years. And I know, and Jen is absolutely right, to fulfill the need that we have right now is going to take everyone pulling in the same direction. We need more women in construction, in the trades, and Danielle sees it on a day-to-day basis. The average age of a construction worker in the state of Vermont right now is about 56 years old. Think about that the next time you need an electrician, you need a plumber, you need a carpenter, you need anyone in the trades, and in about 5 years that's going to hit home. So we need to act now. We need to find different tools for the toolbox, so to speak, and apprenticeships are part of the answer, and that's why it's so essential. The better we can prepare Vermonters and provide training for new skills and careers, the better off the state is going to be. By reinvigorating our apprenticeship program, we can help close those skills gaps between what we hear Vermont businesses need today and the skills that job seekers need to fill them. Apprenticeships provide the training, industry certifications, and secure employment as well. This is a week to recognize the vital role and contribution apprentices can make to the future of Vermont, the future of our economy, and to the overall labor force. I'd like to thank the Department of Labor and partners that are here today, many of us, for their work and efforts to move the needle on growing our workforce and for working together to strengthen the apprenticeship opportunities in Vermont. So now I'm going to read and sign a proclamation making Apprenticeship Week official here. And so I'll read it first. This is in Montpelier speak, so there's a lot of whereases. Whereas apprenticeship programs develop Vermont's workforce by providing opportunities for potential employees and students to learn skills by working jobs under the guidance of skilled employees. And whereas economic growth in Vermont depends upon the continued development of workers who are skilled in their chosen fields. And whereas registered apprentices earn while they learn, thereby reducing student debt, improving economic stability, and increasing career options. And whereas reinforcing the importance of Vermont's registered apprenticeship program will help increase talent development in high-demand sectors. And whereas registered apprenticeships are critical post-secondary training grounds for future employment. And whereas registered apprentices who complete their program have a high employment and retention rate with over 90% of apprentices entering employment. And whereas National Apprenticeship Week is an opportunity to recognize the positive impact apprentices have on job seekers, employers, and Vermont's economy. Now, therefore, I, Philip B. Scott, Governor, do hereby proclaim November 12th to 18th, 2018 as Apprenticeship Week in Vermont. So now I'll do the difficult part.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm going to save the pen for our next speaker.
Nice. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So as the governor said, we do have another speaker. To close our proclamation ceremony today in our press conference, I wanted to take a minute to introduce and dedicate this proclamation to Ben Brunk. Ben is here with us today along with Casey Coda, president of Coda & Coda Oil, a family-run business here in Vermont since 1941. We've asked Ben and Casey here today to speak about the value of apprenticeships and to have Ben share his story. And Ben, when you're finished, the governor has a pen for you as a token of our thanks.
As you said, my name is Ben. I'll give you a little background on my story. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I have a family, 2 young kids and a wife. I'm from Brattleboro, Vermont. I grew up there. I was raised there. And getting to the point in my life where I needed to change and I wanted to change, there were a lot of obstacles to overcome. One of them being my confidence level. I really, really wanted to be able to support my family better. I had no clue where to start or what to do. I was pointed in the direction of vocational rehab. I decided after much thought to go try it out, kind of skeptical, with my background, thinking I wouldn't be able to find anything decent. I went in. The first day I told them I want to get into a trade. I need to do something. I didn't have the resources to do college or the time with a family to do college. Immediately that day they pointed me towards Coda and Coda, and I applied there. And with help from Nancy Dwyer from Vocational Rehab, helping me put together a resume and figuring out what I needed to do and the different supplies and things I need, I ended up getting an interview at Coda and Coda. I did not know a thing about the industry, the heating industry, HVAC, anything. I didn't know a thing about it. And I was straightforward with Coda and Coda from the get-go. And they said, well, if you're willing to learn, we're willing to teach you. Through this job, I have got multiple licenses. I got my oil license. I've got propane licenses. I can work on things that I never thought I would be able to do. And it's changed my life entirely. It's changed my family's life entirely. I never dreamed I'd have the opportunity to work in a company that I felt so supported by. I've worked at a lot of places, and I've never felt at home or like a family in a place like I do there. And my gratitude towards vocational rehab for being there to point me in that direction is immense. I don't know where I would be at this point in my life without that program. I didn't have the resources to buy the tools I needed at that time, and vocational rehab stepped up and provided for me the tools I need for my job. They checked in on me, kept up with me to see what I was doing, and kept encouraging me. Because of this program, I now have a job I take pride in. I feel I'm good at and getting proficient at. And I will have a job that will be able to support my family forever. And I'm forever grateful for that. I want to say thank you to Vocational Rehab and for my employer, Coda and Coda, for what they've done for me.
This is such a success story on so many different levels. When you think about your recovery and finding a trade and an occupation and a career, and we're so very proud of you. And this is an example of what we can do when we all pull in the same direction. And thanks to you, Commissioner, for having the foresight to put and embed some career counselors within recovery centers as well. I think that's important to note because we're going to have to find different ways to help people in need. So we're very proud of you. Thank you very much.
I think you got a pen, but we are also going to send you away with a copy of the proclamation so that you have it to remember all the hard work you did. And thank you for inspiring us. And thank you for showing people that teamwork can really make a difference. And we, like I said, everybody in this room, I feel like, has a hand in trying to help Vermonters. And you are such a shining example of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to the
You bet.
Codas
Yeah.
for
Sure.
seeing the wisdom.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So this concludes our conference, press conference today. I want to thank you all for being here. We're going to grab a few photos, so don't run too quickly. But are there any questions? We have the governor in the room. If anybody has any questions, this would be a great time. No? Okay.